What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Jared Gordon goes off on bettors for Noche UFC situation. During this past week's UFC card, we got news that Jared Gordon was hit by a car ahead of the weigh-ins and chose not to tell anyone. We, the community, found out about everything when Belal Muhammad made it public. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Well, since then, Jared has gotten some backlash from bettors saying that it's not fair that they bet on him, and he chose to fight without telling anyone about his health situation. During an interview with Full Send MMA, Gordon went off on those making the comments, saying that he could care less what they have to say.
I make an income outside of fighting. I don't have to fight. And looking at the comments, people are like, oh, these broke fighters, they shouldn't be, mostly bettors, guys that are losing money on bets. You should be, I'm getting DMs, you should tell people when you're injured so we don't bet on you. You think I give a about you and your bets? Degenerate loser.
Arman Tsarukyan says he cannot afford to mess up in grappling match. Although there's been no word on when Arman Tsarukyan will be returning to the octagon, the streaking contenders kept himself busy with grappling matches. Ahead of his upcoming grappling match against Benson Henderson this Friday in Moscow, Tsarukyan explained to Red Corner MMA that he can't afford to mess up because if he loses, he'll never hear the end of it from fight fans. I have a serious opponent, I can't afford to mess up. If I lose, people won't let me get away with it, so I have to go out and show 100% and be ready. This will be a 10-minute bout without a break. It's not easy, so I take it professionally. As Tsarukyan went on to explain, the 3 grappling matches he's taken since his cancelled UFC 311 headliner against Islam Makhachev have helped to keep him disciplined and motivated as he awaits news on his next UFC fight. Talking about Arman, he believes that Ilia Topuria will fight Paddy Pimblett next rather than Justin Gaethje. Then he's predicting Ilia to move up to 170 to fight Islam. This is what he had to say to Sport24. No, Gaethje won't fight Topuria. The UFC can do whatever they want. The UFC could even put Topuria against a debutant. But I think it's more likely to be Pimblett than Gaethje. I think he'll defend his title. And if Islam wins the title, he'll move up to 170 and want to become a triple champ. He won't want to fight me because he can make more money fighting Islam, and he has the chance to become the first ever triple champion in history and earn big money. And even if he loses to Islam, he can say he moved up to 170 and drop back down. He'll have the excuse that he moved up 2 weight classes. Merab wants to knock out Cory Sandhagen at UFC 320. After breaking his 5-fight decision streak with a submission win over Sean O'Malley in June, Merab is hoping to get another finish when he shares the octagon with Cory Sandhagen next month. During an interview with MMA Junkie, facilitated by Steak, Dvalishvili explained, I know a lot of people think I got this fight easy, but definitely no, because it's a new fight for me. Cory Sandhagen is a dangerous opponent. I have so much respect for him as a fighter, as a human being. I'm looking for the knockout because I'm working on my striking, This fight is mostly going to go on the feet, and of course, I'm going to exchange some punches with him, and that's the goal. But at the same time, it's an MMA fight. We have to be ready for everything, and I won't be surprised. Merab's coach, John Wood, echoed a similar sentiment during an interview with Homa Fight this week. He is now looking to create entertaining, devastating fights. You're going to see a whole different Merab in this fight that's going to be brutal and funner to watch. While the champ's focus is on Sandhagen, considering he has his sights set on one more fight before the end of the year, he also dished on the upcoming Umar Nurmagomedov Mario Bautista fight, which could decide the next #1 contender if Peter Yan doesn't get the next shot. I hope Bautista whoops Umar's in that fight because Bautista is a good fighter, good winning streak. He beat a lot of good guys, and he's the most deserving guy too. And Bautista's cousin's name isn't Khabib. That's why he needs 9-fight win streak to maybe fight for the belt. And some people can get title fight after 6-fight win streak fighting nobodies. So far, no response yet from Umar or his team. In other news, Ben Askren learned this week that while he was in a coma, Merab Dvalishvili beat Sean O'Malley on the UFC 316 card. Askren responded to the news via social media. Wow, I just realized that Merab beat Sean again while I was sleeping. Sean shoulda really took more time to work on his wrestling. Mark Shapiro reveals the truth on UFC not signing with Netflix. Before the UFC finalized a deal with Paramount, reports suggested that the UFC could sign a broadcasting rights deal with Netflix. This week, during an episode of The Varsity with John Ourand, TKO president Mark Shapiro opened up on why the UFC did not sign with Netflix, explaining that from the beginning, Netflix only wanted the numbered UFC events, aka pay-per-view cards, and not all the UFC's fight night events throughout the year. Over the course of conversations, they really didn't come off of that, and that's what opened the door for Paramount and CBS. The fight community was quick to weigh in on the situation. Honestly, I like the UFC opting to keep all fights under the same platform. Too many sports are being splintered for the audience. It makes everything so expensive and hard to find. Another wrote, so Paramount basically said you can produce more slop. It's fine. As one fan added, the numbered events have largely been garbage the last several years. Fight nights are totally out of the question for me to watch. I would rather watch an episode of Better Call Saul that I've seen 17 times than I would watch a fight night card. Another replied, I can respect wanting all your events to be on the same channel. What's happening with the NFL and NBA right now is pretty confusing, and the UFC doesn't have the same popularity to make people search out the events. One fan explained that they wish the UFC put big events on Netflix and the rest on CBS and Paramount. Kinda would have preferred to have numbered events on Netflix and the other stuff on ESPN or CBS. Fight nights have kinda just become mediocre Apex cards. The Netflix numbers, in my opinion, would far exceed anything they'd get on CBS. After the Canelo-Crawford fight over the weekend, one fan feels like the UFC missed out by not having events on Netflix. Fumbled by UFC, the fights look beautiful on the app. UFC updates. As we anxiously await the UFC's return next weekend in Perth, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with a new addition to the UFC 323 card in December. According to reports, Mansour Abdul Malik will collide with Antonio Trocoli in a middleweight bout that will see Abdul Malik look to get back in the win column after what was originally scored as a win wound up becoming a draw. On the flip side, Trocoli will be looking to snap a two-fight skid that's seen him go winless inside the octagon. According to Marcel Dorf, the fight was originally supposed to happen on the Vancouver card. However, it's since been moved to the December 6th pay-per-view in Las Vegas. Next up, we got a bout between Teresa Bleda and Jamie Lynn Horth added to the UFC Vegas 112 card on December 13th. Bleda will look to return to action for the first time since June of 2023, and Horth will look to build on a win back in June over Vanessa Demopoulos. That card will also host a heavyweight bout between Aspinall and Sean Sheriff, following Aspinall's Contender Series win earlier this month. And last but certainly not least for our UFC updates, Kayla Harrison shared an update on her potential fight with Amanda Nunes while speaking with MMA Junkie this week. I've had the conversations with my coaches about how long do we wait before we pivot, and I have an idea in my mind, like, hey, if I don't have news by this time, then I'm just going to ask for a different opponent. It's also not fair for the division. I want to be conscientious of being a champion and being respectful of other fighters' time and career. We all have a very short window. I would never want to put someone else's dream on hold because, you know, that's something that I do think about. I'm pretty sure the Nunes fight is going to happen. From everything I hear, she's ready to go. She wants to fight. I want to fight. We're just waiting on the details. Considering it sounds like Nunes is ready to go, hopefully we get some news on the bout sooner rather than later.
Here, I'm better than you. You know this.
Well, I hope so.
You know this.
The whole idea is to make him better everywhere, not just
Coach,
here.
Coach, you have to realize. You teach me this, now I'm better than you.
Okay. Is he better?
Of course he's gonna say yours. No.
Everybody say. Look, over here. What? Say. What do you say?
Number one, coach.
Number one.
Tom Aspinall talks about Ciryl Gane improving ground game. Since his submission loss to John Jones back in 2023, Ciryl Gane has continued to work on his ground game. And ahead of their upcoming UFC 321 title fight, Tom Aspinall wouldn't be surprised if Gane tries to take him down. During an interview with Bloody Elbow this week, Aspinall discussed the fight, saying, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to take me down. It's MMA, so I'm preparing for everything. I work with really high-level guys in all aspects. I'm comfortable anywhere, and I'll take the path of least resistance. However that looks on the night. We've seen that Ciryl has holes in his ground game, but he's improved. Stuff like that gives you an opportunity to improve. I wouldn't be surprised if we get in a lot of grappling exchanges this time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we have a straight-up stand-up fight either. You've got to be ready for anything in MMA, and I'm preparing for everything. Whether Gane is motivated to shoot for a takedown after seeing Aspinall get taken down by Rico Verhoeven, only time will tell. However, in the meantime, the UFC has released a poster for the card. What do you think about the poster? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Coach blames UFC for Kelvin Gastelum weight miss. Despite moving up to 185 again, Kelvin Gastelum came in 5 pounds overweight for his Noche UFC fight last weekend. While fight fans called for the UFC to cut Gastelum the same way they did Brian Battle, so far, there's no indication that the UFC is going to cut the former Ultimate Fighter winner. The way Ray Longo sees things, while Gastelum does deserve blame here, so does the UFC for booking him to fight on short notice. During an appearance on the Anik and Florian show this week, he weighed in. Part of the play, I don't want to say this, is the UFC too. They're asking a guy on a month's notice to fight. And it's the old saying, you put a in a monkey's hand and he shoots somebody, whose fault is it? That's what they did. They know the guy can't make the weight. Most likely, it's not in their favor. Go with a guy that's a guaranteed lock. Considering Gastelum took the fight on short notice, the UFC may not cut him despite his long-standing history of having issues with making weight. Michael Bisping agrees with Dana White on Jon Jones' situation. Despite the fact that Dana White believes Jon Jones is the greatest fighter of all time, Dana's been hesitant to put Jones on the upcoming UFC White House card for next summer, making it clear that he needs fighters he can rely on, like Conor McGregor, who famously didn't blink when Jose Aldo pulled out of their UFC 189 fight years back. According to Michael the Count Bisping, he doesn't blame Dana for keeping Jones off the card. As he explained during a recent episode of his Believe You Me podcast with Paul Felder this week, I don't blame him. You can't blame the man. What did he do? He promoted him. He stuck to his guns. This is the pound for pound #1. They even put that video package out. They gave him the $30 million apparently to fight Aspinall. I don't know if that's true, but apparently that's the number that's floating around. And then in the end, he decides to double barrel, middle fingers, go off to Thailand, live his best life, mess everyone around, have Tom Aspinall waiting on the sidelines for bloody God knows how long. Then, when a big opportunity like UFC White House comes along, he's like, oh, hold on, let's not be too hasty. I want a piece of that. If that was me, I'd say, go yourself. Of course, on top of the fact that Jones reportedly balked on fighting Aspinall once the UFC met his demands, Dana has cited Jones's refusal to fight Chael Sonnen on short notice on the UFC 151 card back in 2012 as a major reason why he doesn't trust Jones to headline an event as big as the White House card. Dana White cancels UFC co-main event. With UFC Perth just days away, we've received some unfortunate news. It was revealed earlier today that the UFC Perth co-main event between Junior Tafa and Ilia Topuria is reportedly off due to injury. Aslan took to Instagram revealing that Tafa pulled out due to an injury. He wrote the following: "My opponent pulled out of the fight because of an injury. The fight will not happen. Get well soon, boy. We have to rebook this fight. There is no space for you." With the UFC unable to get a backup fighter for Ilia Topuria, the new co-main event for Perth is Jimmy Crute versus Ivan Ursulan, followed by Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Olberg as the main event.